My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Virginia rapper Henny L.O. We spoke about Baki Hanma, YouTube rabbit holes, how discovering Spike Lee's Malcolm X and Wu-Tang Clan changed his life, his history as a battle rapper, breaking the curse of bad battle rapper albums, meeting Fly Anakin and forming Mutant Academy, the response to M.A.'s debut album Keep Holly Alive, his chemistry with producer ewonee, and the creative process behind their collaborative EP Fougére and their upcoming full-length album The Coldest Season Ever. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. What time is it? It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. Nice little magic hour recording. Feeling good, feeling great. It's fucking 50 degrees in the tri-state area for some reason in February. We don't have an ozone layer, but that's fine. My name's Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names, do a lot of shit, outside, inside, all sides. And I'm with somebody who, I was just telling him off camera, bro. But like, this is somebody who's put in a lot of work in a bunch of different sectors of this beautiful thing we call rap, we call hip hop. Really, really happy to have him here. He's a fucking co-founder of Mutant Academy, battle rapper extraordinaire that y'all need to fucking like do what I did today and go fall in a Henny L.O rabbit hole. I already said your name. I fucked up. Henny L.O is in the fucking building. He's here with us. Fucking Fougére, him and ewonee's EP is out now. There's more coming that we'll talk about later. But yeah, bro. Thank you for being here, Loey. It means a lot.
Nah, no doubt, G's. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me, for real, for real. You have been around and, following us for a minute, so it's just dope to see you still tapped in.
Yeah, nah, like it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful to see the Academy really start to branch out and extend, like all of y'all, like everyone's putting in crazy work. So, but like as I feel like in this particular moment, you've been kind of undersung, outside of like all the Keep Holly Alive stuff, which is like the album. I mean, like Keep Holly Alive is great. So it's just like I said, I just been looking for an opportunity to bring you on here, and with an EP and another album coming, like this is perfect timing.
No doubt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, yeah, it's been over a decade. I don't even know how many years off the top of my head, but it's been like 10, maybe even close to 15. And like this is like the EP's out through Rock Nation, and like y'all got this whole, I don't know. It's just like we'll get into all of that.
No doubt.
But I'm gonna ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
That I had a strong opinion about?
Mm-hmm.
And are we saying like something recent or just the last thing I watched, period?
The last thing you watched, yeah.
Good or bad, doesn't matter. Got you. Last thing I watched, period, that I had an opinion about, like from end to end, was ironically the original Baki. Like not the joint that's on Netflix, but I went back and rewatched like the original from like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
tell
the
me about
anime
it.
joint.
Tell me about it.
I mean, it's just I'm into anime, you know what I'm saying? Like, classic Dragon Ball Z kid growing up or whatever have you, you know what I'm saying? But I just was always like into anime too, like, you know what I mean, big fan of like Street Fighter, you name it, you know what I'm saying? Akira, all of that, you know what I mean? So I remember when I first had moved back home, I pulled up at Holly and they were watching the newer Baki that was on Netflix, and I was not hip. I didn't know what it was. And Kahuna was just like, bro, you never heard of Baki? And I'm like, nah, like this don't look crazy. Like somebody was getting kicked out a window or some shit. So he told me that it had been around since the 90s, and I was just like, all right, like how can I go find the original? Because I want to know like why everybody's scared of dude, like the original character, like why everybody's scared of him. He showed me a site that had, you know what I'm saying, all the joints. It was up at the time. It's not up anymore. And I had been watching it, and ever since then I was like a huge fan of Baki. But every now and again, like depending on like how much of a fan I am, You feel me? I'll go back and rewatch it, and I was just kind of in the mood to kind of like see more than just power ups, fights, and a typical story. Like I like a good tournament style anime or whatever have you, where they just rumbling. But the thing I like about Baki the most is that like they and what I relate to is like just how like much they pay attention to detail. They're like very inquisitive, and they talk about it through a artistic standpoint, which is the martial art, but then they also talk about it like scientifically, like anatomy, like the human body. And I just find that to be dope. You know what I mean? Like especially like at that time period, like I can't think of an anime that I was hip to prior to that was just that into the arts of it. And I was just like, yo, even though like it's fictional, it's just dope. You know what I mean? It make you kind of like go like explore. You know what I mean? Next thing I know, I'm learning about like different animals, going and watching other stuff with a different kind of vision, shit like that. You know what I mean? All stuff that kind of like pour back into the music for real, for real.
Damn, that's hardcore. So I've never watched Baki. I've had
Yeah,
friends recommend it to me. I just never I'm also a big anime kid. So like I just never
yeah,
got around to Baki. Like what's the like have you watched the Netflix one, and like if
yeah.
you have, what's the difference between like the 90s one? Is there a big difference, or is it just like it's just all Baki?
Nah, I mean, the thing about it is like, and I think like one of the things I left out, like the thing I liked about Baki is that obviously Baki's the main character, but I never end up being like a main character lover as much as like the average fan. Like you gonna find different people that you bang with. If anything, I would say that the new Baki that's on Netflix has more comedic relief.
That's cool.
Um, and I mean, every anime that has a manga to it is going to have comedic relief to it that I found. So if you watch the TV show versus reading it, you might see a little bit more of the goriness that you might be used to from the original. So, but it was the same way with Dragon Ball, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, just stuff like that. But I got to get back into Invincible. I started solo leveling.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else? What else? I mean, for the most part, like whenever I am watching TV, it's because I kind of like for the last like weeks or months or whatever have you been into something else. So I'm really big on like watching interviews, documentaries, and then recently, like I said, I've been learning like different stuff about like different animals and stuff like that, just random YouTube shit like that. So like I kind of like finally had my feel, so I started jumping in there and everything. But I'm not like big into like all the reality shows. I know everybody
Right.
talking about BMF and stuff like that because of what's going on. I'll circle back to that eventually, but for the most part, you know what I mean. I be in my own little world, like
I feel you. Yeah, no, 100% feel you. Like I'm a big I love cooking videos. I
yeah,
love let's plays.
yeah,
I'm also into like documentaries and
yeah,
shit about animals.
right.
But the thing I'm watching right now that I literally just started last night, it's this new Adult Swim show called Common Side Effects. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
My brother was just telling me about that. My brother, Great Scott, was just telling me about that.
Oh yeah, I had been meaning to watch it for the last couple of weeks, and I saw it was up on Max, so I just decided to tap in. Anybody who doesn't know, Common Side Effects is a show about this. I think he's a doctor. I've only seen the first episode, but
Hmm.
like, son goes to this remote location somewhere in the world that grows this blue glowy mushroom, and it
Hmm.
can cure every disease, ailment, anything.
Yeah,
Like you eat it, like you could die and you eat it and you come back to life. You have cancer, it's gone. It's like a wonder drug.
yeah.
So naturally, like he has a homegirl, or at least someone he thinks is a homegirl, who secretly works at this pharmaceutical company. She doesn't
Hmm.
tell him that she works at the pharmaceutical company, and they just like start working to like the government starts to hunt the guy down because like they're gonna like all the pharmaceutical companies are gonna go out of business if this wonder drugs. I'm talking too much. The show is
You
cool.
good?
I'm enjoying it. It's I half forgot that it was executive produced by Mike Judge, the guy who did King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead,
Wow,
because like
I
there's
didn't
like
know.
one character in there who sounds just like he sounds like Hank Hill if he is I don't know how to put it. He sounds like Hank Hill if he was like from New York. Like
Okay,
the
yeah.
Texas accent isn't super
Yeah.
thick, but like I heard him talk and I was like, that's definitely I'm hearing Hank Hill talk to me right now. But he's just like a dude in like horn rimmed glass. I mean, Hank Hill also kind of had like the boxy glasses,
Right,
but
right, right.
like that's the kind. It's like it's been that, and then like my lady and I have been on a. We've been watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine for some reason. Like we
Yeah.
just started it and just it's just one of those you could just like throw it on like fuck the cops, but like I
Right,
don't
right,
know.
right.
It's fun.
Yeah, nah, that's
I'm
that's
having fun
pretty
with it.
much what we at too. Like we watching a lot of Chicago PD.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. We were on Chicago Med for a minute, and I
Yeah.
just like. I couldn't handle that shit after a while. I was like, I need to watch something that's gonna make me laugh. Like this is it's just like OD depressing, you
Yeah,
know?
that's why I like Chicago PD because even though like you said it's police and everything like that, like it's just certain stuff and certain characters that just had you laughing and then of course like the main character, he be smacking the shit out of people.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like he get you in a
yeah, bro.
motherfucking joint, you know what I mean? And he's supposed to be interrogating you. You say something he don't like, then he's smacking the fuck out you. Like that should be having me weak.
Yeah, bro. Like son from SVU. I
Yep.
always forget his name. Stabler. There
Stabler,
we go.
yep,
Stabler.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
It's
Yeah, I
just
be into that
fucking.
shit too. Like I said, like when I get out of my own little world and I come up for air, whatever have you, and
Yeah,
especially when I'm, getting the QT in with, my lady and all that,
of course.
we be on them cop shows.
Excuse me. Yeah, I went to a thrift store like 6 months ago, and I
Hmm.
found like it was this like maroon hoodie, and it has just Law and Order SVU, like it has the logo on it.
Hmm.
I just like found it at a thrift store for like $5, and I was like, I
That's
need this.
hilarious.
Like I can't imagine that it was anything but like it had to have been like a crew sweatshirt that somebody just gave up. But
Right.
I'm like, nah, I'm like, this is mine now. I'm taking this.
No doubt.
Like
No doubt.
how could I not? But
Right.
before we move on to older stuff, and
Hmm.
like your origins,
Hmm.
I want to know more about this little world you be going into, like the little rabbit holes you be going down in terms of documentaries and
Yeah.
animals and shit like that.
I mean, for the most part, you know what I'm saying, just, growing up the way we grew up and all that, you know what I mean, being from Richmond, I always been into like the street documentaries. So, you know what I'm saying, Fez DVD, Don Diva magazine and how all of those transition into like, visual media. So I'll be watching different street documentaries, and I'm starting to notice that it's like different YouTube pages and stuff like that that'll even do stuff on my city. So like the Briley brothers, the Gilpin Court murders, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so I can kind of like pay attention to the patterns and kind of see what's going on. Especially, you know what I'm saying, when I think about like everything that's going on outside right now, like socially and economically and all that. I'm just like, all right, like I gotta think about a way to stay in tune because if I don't and I stay too far over here, I feel like I'm gonna lose touch and it's gonna make me go a little bit too far artistically in a direction that it might be cool, but it may not be everyone, including myself, like cup of tea. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I watch stuff that's like, just pertaining to what's going on around the world. Whenever I'm like watching animals, just like really honestly little goofy videos. Like if you like just go type in life as a wolf, for example, it's these little animated cartoon style joints, but it's like legit giving you like characteristics and facts about like the lifespan of that animal. You know what I mean? Like I was learning about fucking coyotes, my nigga. Like I was just like, bro, what you mean like coyotes have a bad life? And then it's like, oh shit, like they literally are not like anywhere near the top of the food chain. Like that's crazy. Like they actually be getting packed out. Like
Yeah,
you know what I'm
bro. They be
saying?
looking for
Like
scraps at all times.
yeah,
Like,
like even like black mambas, it's like yo, like the end of their life, they spend the end of their life running.
mm.
The black
From
mamba, you
what?
know what I'm saying? From
From
everything.
what? Oh yeah, from everything.
From everything. So like what they hunted because they not as fast no more. They got the venom, but they
Got it.
not as fast, they not as strong, they're just not as agile. You know what I'm saying? So like they get up out of there.
Word. See, that's crazy because like just everything like that's what I've always loved about just like YouTube and the internet. Like
Hmm.
I feel like people a little older than us they grew up with like almanac, or maybe not grew up, but they'd have like almanacs and like and like encyclopedias
Hmm.
and shit around, and you would just like get lost in books. And now you can just go onto YouTube and be like, what's like the lifespan, or like the like what's like a coyote's life like, or just
Right.
like tell me about black mambas. Like you have like a random thought, like you
Hmm.
can just you can just go and find anything you want, and
Hmm.
it's so easy to just get lost in all of that,
Right.
like yeah, like I'm the yeah, like yeah, matter of fact, I got my YouTube open. I'm just scrolling through here now. Like I got like there's this there's this cooking channel I like, where somebody made a they made a okonomiyaki, which is this like big ass like stir fry dish, where
Hmm.
it's like a scallion pancake with like a bunch of eggs on the bottom, and like all the noodles and the veggies and shit are in the middle. And like Sanji from One Piece made a big one, and they wanted to like recreate the big ass okonomiyaki, so it's just like a 20-minute video of somebody recreating the okonomiyaki from One Piece. Like
That's hilarious.
shit
Yeah,
shit
nah,
is
I be
fire.
into
Like
like the cooking and all that too. Like more so just, you know
yeah,
what I mean, watching other people just following it for more so like the ingredients. All right, you did that. And the next thing I know, I'm at the grocery store and I'm making it too. So I feel that too, for sure.
yeah, bro. Like yeah. No, there's this guy named his name's Babish. I think
I know who you
his
talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like smoking
I watch.
with Babish or something like that. Yeah,
Nah,
yeah, yeah.
it's binging with Babish.
Yep, 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 yep.
So yeah, like I got his cookbook over the holidays,
Dope.
and there's this recipe in the book for bone in braised chicken thighs
Mm-hmm.
in what is it? It's chicken thighs over pasta with like fennel and onions and a bunch of shit in it. Like you
Word.
got like I it's some of the most delicious chicken I've ever made, in like cuz like it's kind of healthy, but it's got like hella butter and seasonings, but it's got like tons of veggies in it, and
Right.
like hella pasta, and you can it like it flexes it, like it works all your cooking muscles.
Yeah.
Like you be braising shit, you bake it, broil it, put it
Right,
on the
right.
stove after you take it out. I burned my hand. You can't really see it now, but but like I fucked my hand up like 2 months ago from taking the shit out without
Yep.
a or not even without a glove on. Like I used like one of those like little cozies instead of like the actual hand, instead
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
actual glove. So I just burned the fuck out of my hand. Like that's
It be
but
like that, man.
that's how you learn, bro.
Yeah, word.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, anyway, that's like I don't know. I just fall into holes sometimes, and then like I'll just like I'm on like a Sonic the Hedgehog kick right now too, because I just got Sonic and Shadow Generations. I've been playing that a lot. So like
Yo,
I'm just
yeah,
like
yeah,
watching
yeah.
I'm just watching like hella let's plays and like lore videos. And I was the same way when I got God of War. Like that's just like I feel you just in being in your own little world, and somebody's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, did you watch like Love and Hip Hop?" And I'm like, "Nah, like I've just been watching how to kill this fucking orc demon." Like that's the type of
Right.
time I'm on. Like
Right, right, right. Nah, facts. Like, I mean, like all of that is cool, you know what I'm saying? And then, the other half, like, she'll be on stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like her mindless activity and stuff like that every now and again.
mhm.
So I be knowing what's going on. It's just it's not my habit and my hobby, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's always nice to just like know what's going on, but it doesn't have to be
Right, right.
tunnel vision can go wherever you want it to go, you know.
That part, yeah.
But okay, let me take it. I want to take it all the way back with you in terms of like experience, especially
Hmm.
because of actually even before that, you had mentioned before that you would incorporate stuff that you learned and saw on
Hmm.
Baki into your music. I'm really
Hmm.
curious about like what you took from that and put back into the work. Like that's so interesting to me.
I mean, like, even though, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm only 31, I'm the youngest of three, you know what I mean? So, like, I
Mm,
was born in the 90s. But my brothers kind of like raised me artistically, you know what I'm saying, through the golden era. And if we go back and like we look at the golden era of rap and hip hop, it was actually cool to be smart and intelligent and inquisitive, you know what I mean? Especially just, with knowledge of self and 5% nation and the nations of gods and earths and stuff like that, whether you were raised on it or not, a lot of it was influential throughout the music. So
Right.
just being intelligent and being inquisitive was just a big thing. Being smart was cool, you know what I mean? And I was also a decent student, you feel me? So like when I look at shows like Baki, when I read certain books, when I watch whatever it is that I'm watching, I'm always thinking about it from a perspective of like, all right, like that was interesting what they said. What does that word mean? What is that? What's the history behind that or whatever have you? So something that happens in Baki or just Baki's mentality about how he looks at fighting, like it's not like how Goku was off some I just want to be the strongest. If you strong, I want to fight you. It's not just that. It's
Right.
not like I want to figure out how to be the strongest, but rather than follow my dad's path and be the strongest and have everybody fear me, it's just about respect. I just want to do that. You know what I mean? And when I
Yeah.
look at it from a rap perspective, it's like, all right, I can relate to that a little bit. Like, I'm not necessarily out here trying to be the most feared rapper or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that competitively. It's just how can I continue to elevate my style, like whether it's the sound, the flow, the cadence, um, the way that I use hooks. You know what I mean? Just it just be anything. You know what I mean? It could be just as simple as just how I write the rhyme. Like, cause in school, obviously, you know what I mean. Like being somebody who's got a vast vocabulary and vernacular. Like I always love English because I used to be able to read other people's style of writing. Like like I'm an artist, absolutely, but I think that just being fascinated with writing first is what really like started me outside of like having influence from my brothers and just loving music. I think it's dope to be able to point out like, oh nah, this is this style of writing. This is this style of story, poetry or whatever. Like I think it's dope.
Yeah. I mean like even just going through like the handful of battle videos I saw you doing, like I don't
Hmm.
know, like just like the way you incorporate like biblical allegories, and like there's like obviously like an
Hmm.
anime reference or two in there. Like I could tell
Hmm.
like I could tell that you really care about that shit in a way that
Hmm.
not everybody does. Like obviously like we care. Like people who
Hmm.
like listen to y'all and y'all care, but
Hmm.
it's like I don't know, like that makes me happy. It makes me happy to see, and it's like interesting because I first came to you as a member of the academy, and like
Hmm.
like I didn't realize that you had history as a battle rapper. And then
Right.
like some time ago I found a video and I was like, oh, Henny L.O battle raps, cool, crazy.
Hmm.
And like I'm always how do I put this, anytime I realize that somebody's into battle rap,
Hmm.
I automatically think to myself like, damn, like can you make a song?
Right.
And but you like I already knew off top that you knew how to do that, because like
Right.
there are so many battlers I love who is just like, if you put them in a studio and give them a beat, they can't do shit with that. you
Hmm.
know? And you're
Yeah,
not
I
one of
mean that's
those.
an unfortunate stigma. You know what I'm saying?
It
Because I
is,
think
yeah.
that there are battle rappers that can make music, but I think the thing about it is, and why you haven't seen me battle in years, is for one, I wanted to refocus on the music and reacclimate myself with the music
Right.
because that's the first love, right? But it's extremely difficult, possible, but it's extremely difficult to do both
Yeah.
and do them well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
no,
I
I'd
just
agree.
I noticed a change in my music. Like I technically got 1,000 times better technically when I came back to the music, but I didn't like how I was focused so much more on technique audibly. I want to make feel good music. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, cause
Yeah.
I like to feel good. Although we just talked about all that nerd shit, that's for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm a polo head. I like to get fly. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to go outside. You feel me? Like I'm still into the normal things. Like I said, I grew up an urban kid and stuff like that. I
Of
just like what
course,
I
yeah.
like what I like.
No, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so
Like if
I hate
it's
that battle rappers get that stigma, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of them that make good music, but with Southpaw, who I was and still am affiliated with, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Those are my guys. Like majority of us started with music first and tried battle rap. Me, I was
Yeah,
so much of a fan that I was already nice. I just had to figure out how to structure rounds and time limits and think about crowd control and interactions and things like that. But as
right.
far as being nice, that wasn't ever a problem for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only say all that cuz like I only say all that because of how I found you initially and just kind of
Right,
like
right.
putting the pieces together retroactively cuz like I'm from Jersey. I'm a big Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I've been an Arsenal fan for fucking like 10, 15, maybe even
Yeah, yeah. Shout outs to
not
Sue
20
Surf
years.
too.
What happened?
I said shout outs to Sue Surf too. I'm glad
Yeah.
to see he coming home soon.
Same, bro. Yeah, no, I can't tell you how happy it made me that Sue Surf is finally like, it feels like just yesterday when he first went
Word,
in. So so it's like kind of crazy.
word.
But like I'll like like there's just like certain like I think about that stigma a lot because I don't ever want to count people out because I want to be fair.
Right.
Like like if I like somebody, I want to give them a chance at everything they do until they
Yeah, no
prove that
doubt.
it's like
No
not
doubt.
working. But I think it was just interesting for me because like I would hear you talking about like I love Scheme Team Donut Shop
Hmm.
from Ree Lewis. Like
Yeah.
I love the way you and Kahuna kind of go back and forth on that song, and
Yeah.
I'm just like like I
Yeah.
hear that and then I see some of the Southpaw stuff and I'm like, oh, like this guy's a
Yeah.
battle rapper. Like I see it in my head and like it makes sense, but at the same time I'm like this is ill. Like it doesn't feel like you're it doesn't it like you feel like you belong in there.
Right,
And
right,
it's
right.
and it's just dope because like it sounds good. The shit you're saying is crazy. The Roscoe P.
Mhm.
Cold Chain bar was fucking wild. Like, like shout out.
Yeah.
So like I guess I'm just kind of like I'm just going off like I'm just unpacking all of this talking to you
Word.
right now. Just like
No,
the
I
yeah,
appreciate it, bro.
of
It's
course.
definitely dope
Yeah,
to see somebody like, you know what I mean, appreciate the stuff that I appreciate, you know what I mean?
yeah, man. Yeah, no, like and yeah, like like Roscoe just got out not too long ago too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I still
Yeah,
haven't heard
yeah.
his new album yet, but
Yeah.
I'm happy he's out.
Yeah.
But either way,
Billy
like I just
Ball.
think yeah, bro. But yeah, I just I just found it fascinating that like that's where my brain was going and just kind of like
Yeah.
filling in the past while hearing your present and just like hearing you talk about it now and break it down because like I don't talk to very many battle rappers, so I'm always like curious to see like how the process between like prepping for a battle versus like constructing a song
Mhm.
goes because like I know everyone's process is different.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it in so long, you know what I mean? And I'm not like, you know what I mean, neglecting or discounting my time in battle rap, but I haven't battled in so long and I'm not gonna say that, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I never considered myself a battle rapper. I was always and am always going to be an artist.
Gotcha.
So the approach is definitely different. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, if you go and look at any of my battles, even down to my last one where I battled Jay Moore,
Yep.
I still remain somewhat rhythmic, but never wrote to a beat.
Right.
So it's just in my DNA because I come from songwriting first, you know what I mean? And although, again, like I gotta reference, you know what I mean, just the way that I brought up, although it wasn't happening outside my doorstep like it might have been years prior, I did have a mentality of if you rap, you battle.
Mm.
So before I had anything to say about myself, I started off even writing music just from a competitive standpoint, and then I started to just experience things as a kid becoming a young man. So I deviated from ciphers on the corner to now I can go and record. I taught myself how to record, and things of that nature. So it's like, oh no, I could write about this, I could write about that, I could write about this, I could write about that for so much time in between meeting Fly Anakin and expanding and growing into what we are now and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I started off one way, went into a direction that I wanted to go, revisit it, and now I'm back in a place that's like just completely like artistic and just I'm not gonna say all over the place, but I would say like I'm probably the most diverse that I've ever been if we talking hip hop to where like it's like oh no like I can kind of visit all of these realms and tell you a little bit about a lot of it. And if I don't know, you know what I mean, I know enough people that know, like, you know what I mean, like my network is pretty good. And just my love and fascination with rap period, you know what I mean, I could talk about that really all day, you know what I mean.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's why
no,
I feel like calling myself a battle rapper, I think that that will be a disservice to the thing itself. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a full-fledged artist.
felt. Yeah, nah, and yeah, I definitely want to get into all things. I want to get into all things rap with you, but
Yeah,
that like I needed to know all of that. So excuse me, thank you.
no
Like,
doubt.
but yeah, I wanna run it all the way back with your movie history first.
Mhm.
What's the first movie experience you can remember having, Loey? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. Just like the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Damn, that's a good question. Um, the first time that I remember going to the movies, it was at Cloverleaf Mall. If you know anything about Richmond, a true Richmond native. Well, I ain't gonna say a true Richmond native, but a Richmond native from my era and before. They know Cloverleaf. It was a movie theater behind Cloverleaf. The first thing that comes to mind, I probably am gonna remember something different later, but I'll have to say my brothers took me to go see South Park.
Mm,
I had no business being there. I was in like first grade type shit. But my brothers was like, nah, like telling my moms, like, nah, let them come with us, let them hang with the guys, da 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 da. My mom went to go see Wild Wild West, and they took me to see fucking South Park.
wow.
And after that, after that, she was cool with me hanging with them the way I was hanging with them because like, yeah, I'm the youngest, I'm the baby or whatever have you. But it's like, yeah, nah, he does need to be with his brothers. And when my dad was still alive, you know what I mean? They it's like, yeah, he does need to be with his dad. So it was between South Park and the first scary movie. I had no business seeing that shit. But that's like, yeah, that's probably the first joints I remember.
Wow.
Damn, that's crazy. That was a good question.
Yeah. Ah, thank you. Yeah, no, like I'm always curious because I feel like the first movie experience kind of says a lot about like I don't want to say it says a lot about taste because like you're like that's like your first movie ever or like the first one you can remember. Like
Hmm.
I remember when damn, how old was I when I saw the South Park movie? Because I'm only a year older than you, but I didn't see it until maybe like 5 or 6 years later on VHS or DVD or whatever.
Yeah,
And like I still kind of had no business watching that. I had no
yeah,
business watching that shit. Like my big cousin Jarrell, if you're listening, I love you if you're listening, Jarrell. Um, like he was really into Beavis and Butthead at the time,
right.
and like they had their movie come out. I think it might have been like 90. Ah man, Do America had to have been like 96, 97.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like I kind of like played like I had wanted to go see it, but like my parents were like, nah, you're not seeing that shit. Like
Hmm.
they were hip enough to be like, nah,
Yeah.
you're like not even 10. Get the fuck out of here.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but like once like the South Park movie, I saw Beavis and Butthead Do America some years later, and like to this day, that's I could throw that on and just like watch it, laugh the whole time. I haven't watched the South Park movie in some years, but like it was like when I was big into it, it was like that was the shit. Like the
Yeah,
songs
no
were
doubt.
funny. Like yeah, I don't know, man. Like it was just like it was just cool to see. It was just cool to see that. It was cool to see like a crude adult animated. You know, it's like your first experience with that type of shit for the most part. Like usually for like people like our age.
Right, right,
So,
right.
and then on top of that, having that tied to such a distinct memory of just like rolling with the boys, like with your brothers and your dad, like that's
Hmm.
like these are the things that make us,
Yeah,
you
no
know.
doubt, no doubt. Yeah, yo, like, these got me thinking about so many different, like, distinct memories I have. Like, that's crazy. That was a good question. That's crazy.
What other things come to mind for you? I'm so curious.
Nah, so I remember my middle brother, Great Scott. He um he and I connected a lot because we're a little bit closer in age. We only like 6, 7 years apart. So I just remember different things that he would put me on to, whether it was video games or movies. And I remember I'm like in either daycare still or kindergarten. I can't even remember. He was like, yo, when you come home, do your homework as fast as you can. It's about to be so fire. I'm like, oh, whatever the slang was back then, it's about to be so sweet. You know what I mean? We about to watch this movie. I'm like, all right.
My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking.
Mind you, in the beginning, because I'm the youngest and he doesn't know how to be a big brother yet, this is one of the times where we not bickering. So I'm like, all right, all right, all right. So we being cool. I come home, bro, and like literally as soon as I finish my homework or whatever it is I had to do before I could go chill for the day, we watched the Tekken movie, the motion picture joint, the cartoon, the anime.
Wow, the first Tekken movie. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that. Um, Great Scott also is the reason that although again I had no business watching it, I saw Scarface and the Mac because of him,
Mm,
and the Education of Sonny Carson.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, I saw all of that early. Like,
That's a crazy spread. Like
yeah,
those
yeah,
those
yeah.
those four movies, like all yeah, like just those stacked together is a crazy spread.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why I was like, damn, like that was a good question because you making me remember like it's stuff that I don't forget about, you know what I'm saying? But it's making me remember like, damn, like that kind of like did shape and mold because again, tying it back to the music,
Yeah.
I heard the music first. So my oldest brother would put me on to the music and we bonded over that. Murtaugh, you know what I'm saying? We bonded over that and the music side of things and all of that. But my middle brother and I bonded on more of the visuals and what it derived from. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
before like we started to get into like what was going on in real time. You know what I mean?
Right. And then, like on that note, like as the both of y'all, but really you, but like the both of y'all, as y'all get older and like your taste starts to develop and you start to
Mm-hmm.
like establish, like
Mm-hmm.
who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to think of this as a capital M movie. Like the first one you ever, or not the first one, but like the earliest movie you can remember watching that kind of like stopped you in your tracks and really like connected with you in like a artistic or emotional or spiritual way, just like something that was like, this is a movie type shit.
Yeah. That a movie that connected with me in a kind of way like that connected with me artistically. Probably it's got to be between Malcolm X,
Yeah.
Paid in Full, Boys in the Hood, and then I'm big into stand up.
Mm-hmm.
So uh between You So Crazy by Martin and Dave Chappelle for What It's Worth, just when I think about like, cause all of those was like super pivotal points in my journey as an artist for real, for real. So Malcolm X obviously being black, you know, before I even read the book, you know what I'm saying, I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Because obviously we grew up in that time where like entertainment was easier than being informative. So um Malcolm X, because I was supposed to have read the book. Like I had gotten in trouble and I was told that I had to read that book. Because
Mm.
I called myself trying to play outside in the street. So a part of like, my discipline was to read that book. I faked like I read it, but I never read it, got in more trouble. But then I saw the movie and it made me go back and read the book like seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that definitely like hit me different. Um Paid in full because it was entertainment on the front end, right? But then getting into battle rap just as a fan and learning about Harlem and all these guys that was coming from and they was making these references. I'm like, yo, that sounds familiar. Then one day, fast forward, I'm with Fly Anakin and we writing, like literally chilling in my crib at my mother's house, and we writing, and I stumbled across their interviews and it said the real Paid in Full. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm thinking it's a movie,
Mm.
but it's an interview of dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, like,
That's
alright,
Ace,
you know what I
right?
mean? Huh?
It was the guy who was Ace, right? Or was it?
The guy who played Rico, the real
Okay, right.
Rico, I should say. You know
Got
what
you,
I'm
got you,
saying?
got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Because that's, you know what I mean, something that I'm like so far not connected to, and then like people's lives that was affected. I don't want to say his name, you know what I mean? But we
Of
know,
course.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's like when I think about that movie, it's like damn. And then Boys in the Hood, although I'm from the East Coast, the way that the parents develop the children kind of stuck with me and just being like, damn, like my mom and dad might have been like Trey's mom or Trey's dad, excuse me,
Yeah.
and
Fury
well, really
Styles.
his
Yeah.
mom and dad. But then I look at Doughboy's parents and it's like, yo, I had some moments where my mom was kind of crazy, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like stuff like that, and then just comedy, you know what I mean? Even though I was mad young, like I said, I grew up fast. Martin, You So Crazy, it was just like, oh shit, like that's how a relationship is, like crazy, deranged, and all them shits. And then talking about like, you know what I mean, Africa and just being crazy, period. You know what I mean? And then Dave Chappelle, because again, it just goes back to like although he was way more goofy back then and more animated, he was still just intelligent. The way he got to a punchline was just dope to me. So like
Hmm.
all of that alongside the love that I had with music, I would put them together. That's why like you'll see me whether it be like musically or on a freestyle or on a verse. Like if you pay attention to what I'm saying, I might be weaving in and out of two to three different topics on one line. Like I
Yeah.
punchline within punchlines. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah. Like your writing style is crazy that way. You know, like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I catch every reference, but like every once in a while I'll just see two ideas interlocking and be like, yeah, like
Yeah,
I get you, you know, like I'm trying to pick up what you're putting down, and I appreciate you wanting to emphasize stand up because, well, first off, killing me. First off, the Chappelle for what it's worth you're talking about. I almost said killing me softly.
that's
Actually,
another one. Like I kind of can't pick between those two. You know what I mean?
killing me softly is mine. Like that was the first Chappelle special I ever watched back when I was like big into Chappelle.
Which
But
which
like,
one was killing me softly? Like, give me a joke from that one.
oh, that's the one with the baby. That's the one with
That's
the
the one.
baby,
That's
and
the
he
one.
pulls the
For what
gun
it's
out.
worth, it's like that. But the one with the baby was like, "Baby, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck is you
Uh
doing?
huh.
I'm selling weed, nigga." Like that's
Exactly.
hilarious to me. Cause again, like DC was so close.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? And then like I said it in the rhyme before, like, and we've said it before. It's not like I made it up or nothing like that. But babies raising babies, like that, that's a profound joke to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I
Real
look at
extreme.
stuff in that point of view. That's why it'd be funny to me because it's like, oh shit, that was up the street.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. Like it's yeah, I mean like I've only been to DC a handful of times. Like as we've both talked about before, like
Hmm.
my big sister stays in Virginia.
Nice.
She's in Alexandria actually.
Yeah, like 2 hours.
See, yeah, which is funny because the first time I told you that they stayed near Petersburg and you were like, Petersburg.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Which is hilarious. And like every once in a while we'd tell people and like recently the last time I went down there, she was like, don't be telling niggas we live near Petersburg. Which made me laugh. It was funny. It was funny as yeah, I mean like we used to go over to the South Park Mall, funny enough.
Yeah,
Like that was I have a lot of memories. Or not a lot of memories, but like a handful of memories
yeah.
going to see I seen two movies that I remember at the South Park Mall. Me and my nephew and my niece and my big sister, I think we saw Alien versus Predator there.
That's
And
crazy.
then me and my big sister, I love you, Aisha. We saw Hannibal Rising, the Hannibal Lecter prequel.
That's
We saw
crazy.
that at the South Park Mall. So like
Yeah.
those were like, yeah, nah, like
But the
I
crazy thing is, like, you don't want to be caught out of bounds out in Petersburg, even still to this day. But
right.
you know what I mean? You can go in there, you can get right. You know what I'm saying? You can get you a good set of gold teeth out of there still. I mean, like, I actually plan on, if not, I got a couple places I'm gonna go, but South Park is still like top of the menu to go
Yeah.
get me a new set of fronts. Cause I just want a new set of gold teeth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, I've never had fronts in my life. And one day when my money's right, I'm a definitely go and get me some fronts just
I was about
because
to say, bro, you from Jersey? Like, that's part of y'all thing. Like,
I know, man. It's just I don't know. I was like it took me almost 30 years to get a tattoo, bro. You can't
nah, I
see it.
feel you.
But you know, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
no,
like
I feel it. I feel it. I take my time on tattoos, but my arm damn near done. So I feel you.
yeah, nah, like my lady hold both arms just covered in tattoos and like I got ideas and stuff I want to do, but like I'm
Yeah,
feeling more confident and just like I'm just ready. It just took me a while, you know.
yeah.
I've
Nah,
just got
definitely take your time, bro. That shit gonna be there forever.
you're right.
Yeah,
I almost got off track. So I was gonna say, with the stand up. So mine, like the one, I used to like stand up a lot. I don't really keep up as much as I used to, but
mm,
my favorite stand up ever is like I thought about this a lot too. I think it's Richard Pryor's live at the Sunset Strip. Like
yeah,
that's like that to me might be like that's like my that's the bar for every stand up for me.
yeah. I think if my dad were still alive, I think that I might have been more of a true Richard Pryor fan.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, you know what I mean? Like my brothers are the ones who planted the seed for my eye for entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it was the golden era, the '90s, the da 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 da, which is why you know what I mean. I kind of got a love hate perception of it because it's like I don't want to be looked at as somebody who sounds like the '90s, although that's what I was raised. It's like no, like, I'm still trying to push it forward, still. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like you'll notice like when I make music, I'm still gonna keep up, especially because again I'm young. I don't ever want to be old.
yeah.
Ironically, like again, here's the love hate part. My favorite rapper being Ghostface. I remember him saying, "Yo, don't make me old school." And I'm like, yo, word, like I don't want to be old school. You know what I'm saying? Cause I think when you calling me old school, you devaluing me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I don't really feel like you're old school. Like there's never been a period of time where I've like I can hear the influence and I can hear that you're on a similar wave and you have similar principles, but like your shit doesn't sound like it doesn't sound archaic or like
Right.
dusty in the sense that like oh this sounds like you're stuck in the 90s. It sounds like you really
Yeah.
fuck with the 90s and are like putting your own spin on stuff that was established in the 90s,
Right.
but be like I don't feel that way about you. I don't feel that way about Frank. I don't feel that way about Kahuna. Like
Right.
y'all, like y'all aren't like you're not revivalists, like it's
Yeah,
like it's not like you're doing the I hate to do them like this. It's not like you're doing the phase one pro era thing, like you're not.
yeah.
It's
But I mean, I can't even, you know what I'm saying? I can't even put that on them neither, because I mean, bro,
right,
they from Brooklyn.
right. Like
You know what I'm saying?
I
It's
see,
like
like that's
it's
why I feel
still
like a
New York
dickhead for
at the
even
end of the
saying
day.
it. Like
Yeah, it's still New York. Like, you know what I mean? That's why, like, when people
right,
have conversations, like, because again, I watch a lot of podcasts and interviews and stuff like that, right? So when people talk about New York and things that come up, like, New York fell off, it's like, bro, that's still New York. Just like Atlanta has earned the right to say that's still Atlanta. The West
right.
Coast just got it right now. That's fine.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
know.
like and to me, honestly, it's between the Midwest and the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
bro.
just musically, like fuck all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like if we just talk music, everybody gets to have their turn. And New York and the West Coast have had multiple eras of reestablishing why they are what they are. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I personally don't ever try to be unfair in saying that anybody fell off. Especially just coming from Richmond. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like going up, we call it up top. Going up top used to be a dream. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
if you could just go up there, you different.
Right.
So now I'm
Yeah.
gonna always have a level of like respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like, like I feel it because like I live right outside of New York, so
Hmm.
obviously there's a lot of like New York influence coming from there. But like
Hmm.
Jersey has its own history, and like Just Blaze is from Patterson. That's 20 minutes from me.
Right, right.
Like that type of shit. So it's just like it's like being from the tri-state and like seeing some of that stuff happen
Hmm.
secondhand. Like I mean, like as I've gotten older and I go into the city, I see it all firsthand. But like I don't
Hmm.
know, just like being as involved in the scene as I am now, and like even like perfect example. I just saw RZA did an interview with the New York Times podcast with
Hmm.
Karamonica and them and Joe, like, and RZA was talking some shit about like, oh, like there's no, like, New York is just at a point where all people want to do is make songs and make you want to dance, and there's no like mental stimulation. And I'm just like, nigga, like, do you have any idea what's going, like it's obviously not the biggest music and not being played on the radio and being put in people's faces, but like there are so many artists in our area in New York and Jersey and beyond who are like tapped into exactly what he's talking about. And I wanted to be like, listen to this person. Listen, I wanted to like pull up to the studio and just give him a list. Because
Right,
like
right, right.
to hear RZA say that, like, that shit really depressed me. Like he kind of, it feels like he almost bought into the notion that our
Yeah,
area, it's just like it gets
yeah.
aggravating sometimes.
I think that's the plight of being a genius, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, he said it in '99, 2000. Like y'all changed the hip hop to technotronics.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we our heroes and our like our forefathers and godfathers of the thing, man. Like their transition, because the people before them, their transition wasn't what we are going to end up transitioning to be, but they still like lay a certain foundation for us to do it better. Like Hove said it, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I did it at what, 27? So you do it at
Yeah.
17, I think was the quote.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. Or rather, I think he said I did it at 37 in reference to the get money side of it. Y'all do it
Yeah.
at 27. I think it just applies in various different ways. And I mean, of course there's a little bit of Wu-Tang bias because Wu-Tang raised me. You know what I mean? But like I just think that we can say whatever we want about them guys musically today, but I mean, like, yo, like it's just at the end of the day, like I can't expect somebody that's not the same person that they were to think the same. Riz
Sure.
ain't got time to be seeing what the fuck going on for real. For real, somebody got to bring that shit to his attention. And even then, you know what I mean. It still has to be a certain thing that piece's interest at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is the era where if it ain't no more clearer than ever, this is the music business. You know what I'm
Say that,
saying?
bro.
Like it's just this is the music business, bro. Like you gotta get in where you fit in, and you gotta do as much as you can, and know where your integrity lies at early, so you don't get lost.
Right.
You know what I mean? Motherfuckers gonna judge you anyway.
Right. I mean, like you couldn't be more right. I have nothing to add to that. I just
Yeah,
all I want is for people who deserve shine to just like be recognized for that. Like you got to like work for things obviously, but
yeah. I mean, shit.
I'm just
I'm a
like I could
walking
name you
testament.
whatever.
I'm a walking testament. You gotta work for that
Yeah,
shit.
man.
I'm probably the most slow burning artist, period.
Yeah, man. And
And some of that is my fault.
I want to know why, but before we do, I want to start with the music because you were already talking about how your older brother was the person who was kind of
Hmm.
putting you on game. So like when did music become capital M music for you? Like not even in terms of you wanting to make it, but just in terms of you like being into music and fucking with music.
I think it was always there. You know what I mean? Because even though I give a lot of credit to my two older brothers, the music was being sampled by what our parents was listening to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my mom tried her best to shelter me and us from a lot of things. I learned to grow that was from fear, right? But my mom was cool. My mom was hip. My mom was fly. Like I go play some Marvin Gaye, or I go play some even some Mary J. And my mom's like, she jamming. You feel me? It's just that, my mom and our parents a lot of times like they operate out of fear. So when I think of when my mom was just like real, especially being like, coming from military parents, right?
Mm,
So operating out of fear and just wanting to do well and wanting to steer those around you that you're responsible for in the right direction. All I saw of my mom was strict, had us in church every Sunday, go to school. I don't care how you do it, just do as I say, not as I do. Playing gospel music, don't want to hear rap, turn it off. I don't care if it's edited. I know what he's saying when he say that cuss word. But my mom, not only was she in the army, she was in Germany, bro, in the 80s.
mm.
You can't, and then like my dad's record collection, we still got it to this day. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like, yeah, like, so it's like, I think it's always been in me, but I think what made me like fall in love with it was honestly it was Wu-Tang. Like it was Wu-Tang, and it was the era where everybody was blooming around them. So Wu-Tang, Outkast, the Raucous Records, like specifically like the sound bombing, like early Thurston Howe, Most Def, Common, and all them cats, and then
Right.
going even further into the underground, looking at Definitive Jux, so like early LP, way before like Run the Jewels. Like it's like the same way you ask me questions about movies, I could tell you different moments and pockets of time and patches where
Mm,
like music has affected my life on some rap kind of time. So like I remember with my oldest brother, it was a lot of like Wu-Tang, Def Jux, and just crazy underground shit, right? With my middle brother, it was a little bit of everything. A lot of southern rap though. So, and even, you know what I'm saying, like I was a big Ice Cube fan when Ice Cube was on like the second Friday. Third one was getting
mm-hmm.
ready to come out in a few years from there. You know what I mean? Now
Wow.
that I look back on it, like, but I was an Ice Cube fan as the rapper. So him being it again, like even though I didn't physically grow up with that memory the same exact way, like I knew Ice Cube from America's Most Wanted, The Predator. So when Killer Mike referenced Ice Cube on Monster, I knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So like, and that's
Yeah.
because of my two older brothers and because of my parents. I knew about samples and stuff like that from the music my brothers was putting me on to. And then when I would hear them play the joint and my parents respond to it, it's like, oh, all right, like we just we just weren't instrument players. We were music lovers, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like as far as like the one, I think like I would have to tell you five. Like so like you got Black on Both Sides, Supreme Clientele,
Mm-hmm.
Resurrection, Monster, uh AT Aliens, Wu-Tang Forever. Like I said, Sound Bombing 2, um, The Cold Vein, Fantastic Damage. Like, and then, you know what I mean? Like by the time I was in second, third grade, my oldest brother had went into the military as well, kind of sort of following in my parents' footsteps, and he went into the Air Force. So if anybody knows anything about the Air Force, after you're done with your basic, you go get stationed where you stationed at. But in basic, you in Texas. So 3-6 UGK
Of
0.
course.
Like bro, I was hip to even the stuff that's circling back now. Like bro, I was just hip, bro. You know what I mean? And I just love music. Like you know what I mean? Just I was it was everywhere. You know what I mean? Like my oldest brother, he was like the cool one. Me and him never really bickered or got into it or anything like that. Like my middle brother and I, because he's got me by like 9, 10 years, right?
Yeah. Right.
So he was always like the one that was the most patient and cool and all of that at a point in time. But if I went in his room where he laid his head at in the house, he had two big speakers in a stereo system with a big yellow poster Wu-Tang Killer B joint with like the animated B that they used to draw back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Playing music, TV up top, whether it was playing a movie or he let me play the game, it would be with the sound off while he was asleep because he worked the night shift, but music would be playing. So
Yeah.
Erica Badu, the neo soul era, like taking it off of direct hip hop for a second. You know what I'm saying? It was always music being played around me. Like the only thing that I don't remember hearing in the crib was country.
Hmm. Yeah. That's dope. Like
Yeah.
that's like I relate in the sense that like in my house, like like my older sister, she's 20, she's got 20 years on me.
Mm,
And so she was already in Virginia by the time I was born. Or no, yeah. She was already in Virginia by the time I was born.
dope.
So like it's like in my crib, I was the older kid. Like I have a younger sister.
Mm,
We're 3 years apart. So
nice.
like like I would play, like I would play my music, my sister would play their music, and like like I would put my sister on to plenty of shit, but my sister would also put me on to plenty of shit, like across the
Mm,
spectrum. And like my dad is a my dad was a musician by trade for some years. Like
nice.
he sang doo wop and roller skated. So like music was
Nice.
always in our house. Like
Yeah, yeah.
just like he was like big into everything, R&B, soul. Like he even liked a little bit of rap here and there. Like Tupac's his favorite rapper. We talk about
Nice.
it all the time.
Yeah.
But like like so it's, yeah, so like I get the I don't necessarily get being like the baby of the bunch and kind of being put on in that way, but I get just being surrounded by like all these different, because like we have like stuff that like my dad and my mom are listening to. Like my mom's bringing like all the rock and the pop and the easy listening stuff,
Hmm.
and my dad's bringing like all the black music. And
Yeah.
then like I'm finding shit on my own through video
Right.
games and movies and just being like a kid going to school, like growing up in Jersey, New York in the 2000s, like fucking Dipset and G Unit, and just like
Right.
it's all everywhere, and just having that be just like coming back around to just that being me, like
Yeah.
kind of
Right. Right. Right.
having my southern rap moment where I
Yeah.
got really into Outkast, but I was also like really into Crunk. I was huge into Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I
Hmm.
was huge into Rich Boy when he put out Throw Some D's.
Right.
Like
Right. Right.
I'm like that Rich Boy album still one of my favorite albums to this day.
Yeah.
Like it's
Like
just
that's when we talk about like our era. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just interesting to see how it's interesting to see what sticks and what kind of follows us as we get older and
Hmm.
establishes us as like us, you know, and
Hmm.
like as you know, like as you take all this influence in from your brothers, from your family, and
Hmm.
just from like being outside in Richmond, when when did you know that music was going to become more than just a hobby for you? Like when did you know that it was like I'm making this like forever, or maybe, or I don't know about forever, but like when did you know that you were going to be a musician, like be a rapper and shit?
Um, I always knew I wanted to do it, but I think when I knew that I was gonna like actively pursue it, it was probably my last day of fifth grade.
Oh wow, so that early.
Yeah, because I always knew I wanted to do it. Like, and I kept talking about it. Like, but the thing, all right, so boom, like you know how like you hear like stories about like our favorite rappers and stuff like that. Like they'll say like, "Yo, I came up in a time where like they laughed if you said you wanted to be a rapper. Like it wasn't cool to be a rapper,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you grew up in a certain era like where everybody was like, outside getting money."
Yeah.
We grew up in the era because you only a year older than me. We grew up in the era where people wanted to be rappers.
Yeah. 100%.
So, so for me, I kept saying that that's what I wanted to do, but had never spit a verse. I was writing, trying to figure it out, and da 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 da. Wasn't confident, none of that. I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't lie about what I wanted to do, but it wasn't it wasn't something that I had did, not in front of my classmates. So I had long hair pretty much all my life. I've only been with a low cut from 2000 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I had cornrows all the way up until I locked my hair. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you a story like that on purpose. I'm kind of like going in and out on some Sin City shit. But
Let's go.
outside of like school, amongst my classmates and stuff like that, I used to get my hair braided in a different neighborhood than what I grew up in. And that neighborhood and my neighborhood was beefing. So I grew up in Broad Rock area. Broad Rock was beefing with Blackwell at the time. My mom didn't know, didn't give a fuck about that. I wanted to get braids type shit. She finally said yes. So her homegirl that she worked with lived in Blackwell. And as long as she took care of me, my mom ain't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? What she didn't know is that the girl that was braiding my hair at her homegirl's house, she was outside. So I hung
Mm-hmm.
around older dudes too. So she would be braiding my hair on the stoop. And I'd be telling her, like, yeah, like I want to rap, I want to do this or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? But I remember telling her like, yo, I don't want to be like Lil Bow Wow. Like I want to be like an actual like cat that like get busy and go crazy or whatever. Like I don't want to be a child star. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And one time she finished braiding my hair. We called my mom. I knew it was gonna be like 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, shit, nah, I don't want to go back inside. Let's see what's going on. Old girl, her name was Pat. She let me kick it outside with her, walk up to some dudes. They might have been smoking, drinking. I don't know. This like 04, 05, dog. And I remember spitting verses, going back and forth with old heads. They was old heads to me then, but they probably was like 17, 18.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
that's the only time that I had spit, and they was just like, and one of the older dudes, had told another guy, like his friend, his man's, was like, yo, youngin right here, nah, youngin gonna be nice. Youngin gonna be nice. He might spank you next time he see you. And I was just like, oh shit. Mind you, like if you was older than me and you said what I was doing was cool, I was cool. It wasn't nothing nobody else could tell me. But I still wasn't confident because I knew I was a little bit different than my friends because again, like I remember being on the bus and stealing my brother's Wu-Tang Forever CD and his CD player and trying to recite Triumph. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Man.
And somebody being
Trial
like,
by
what the
fire.
fuck? And somebody being like, what the fuck is you talking about? Shut the fuck up. And be like, oh shit. All right, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But then, like, fast forward, going back, getting on topic to fifth grade, nobody in my class ever heard me rhyme. So finally, two of my friends, I'll never forget, I'm still cool with both of them to this day. One of them I talk to more frequently than the other, just periodically check in, the homie Reggie. He was like, "Man, you keep talking about rapping, bro. You ain't gonna rap." We Southern, so it's like a draw to it.
Of
And I'm
course.
just
Yeah.
like, "Nah, like I'm a rap." And he was like, "Man, you ain't gonna rap." Da 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 da. and I spit a verse and just walked out. I looked at their reaction. They both was like, but I walked out. I ain't get them no chance. I walked out. I got on the bus. I went home, and I was like, yeah, nah, I'm a rap. From this point forward, like I'm a rap. I'm gonna get as many composition books as my mom is gonna buy me. Every chance I get, I'm gonna ask for a book. And I just spent the summer before middle school filling up books. You know what I'm saying? And I got to sixth grade, and for some reason, that same anxiety came back, where I didn't spit no raps in front of nobody, but I was writing my ass off. Like I didn't spit another rhyme in front of my peers until eighth grade,
Mm.
and I put out a little bum ass mixtape, and I always will wait. Like we was talking about it in an interview a few months back, and Fly actually reminded me that I did this, and I didn't know I was subconsciously doing this. He was like, "Yo, this nigga Henny used to always want to shut the summer down. He'll put out tapes and do a rap and do some shit like that and get it and impress niggas on like the last week of school." I didn't realize that that's what I was doing at the time, but what it really was is I was anxious. Like, all right, boom, you trying to figure out who you are in school. You trying to uh figure out what you like. You starting to like girls. You getting into everything, but you got this thing in the back of your mind too, and you want to be good at that. But also outside is outside. You feel me? Like I said, like I went through my phases where I tried to fuck around and shit like that, and obviously I didn't get too deep into it or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Just trying to figure all of that out, and then just the thing that kept pulling me back that I always loved to do was music. I was always writing. So it was just like when the time in my mind, if I was to tell a story, it was a confidence thing. But it do sound cool to say, nah, I will wait to give niggas the last impression that they had of me would be me bombing on shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
that wasn't it wasn't on purpose. It might have been subconscious, but it wasn't on purpose. Like I just up until between fifth grade and eighth grade, it just always seemed to happen at the end of the school year until afterwards it was like, all right, I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? Then in high school I was known as the cool kid that liked getting fly, could be cool with anybody that also rapped. You know what I'm saying? I tried to play sports too, but I would get just good enough to be able to get past a certain threshold to make a team and shit like that, but I would lose interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you already found your thing.
Yeah. Or
Like,
like I just
yeah.
anything that would physically take me away from it for too long, it never stuck with me. It's not that I
Right.
didn't like it. It's not that I didn't bang with it. Like I still watch basketball and boxing. You know what I'm saying? But the physical activity of the two, it didn't keep my interest as much as rap. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, like you had found your thing. And like when
Hmm.
you find your thing, everything else kind of pales. Like
Yeah.
that's how you know you found your thing.
Right.
So like you found your thing. That's when like at this point you're like I'm doing this. Like I'm like I'm already shutting the summer down on some fucking mixtape shit. As you get older, like as you get older again and start to just like move in life as an adult, or I
Hmm.
don't know if it happened at this point, but like
Hmm.
when did um when did you first meet Anakin? Like when did y'all first connect, and how did Mutant Academy come from that? Because I know it was the two of y'all.
Hmm. It was eighth grade. So by this time, I
Okay.
was going through that phase that I was telling you about, where like I wasn't rapping in front of nobody, but I was recording. I
Uh
had
huh.
taught myself how to record. I had like a little bullshit headset mic with the green and like peach color joint, one for the audio, one for the microphone. I had Audacity. I was recording because
Mm,
my oldest brother Murtaugh, he's an artist too, and he was booking studios. This was back before motherfuckers was getting in studios in a crib. So he was booking studios, but he was just like, nah, yo, keep working on your craft, keep da 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 da, not knowing any of the shit that I just told you about. They're like, nah, I'm running around with cats that's a little bit younger than you, trying to get busy. You know what I'm saying? Kinda sorta earning a little bit of respect or whatever have you. Because it was shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing, I didn't tell nobody I was doing it.
right.
So all they knew was, yeah, he was going to get his hair braided and he came home.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I like they didn't know if I was fighting, if I was trying to do whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? Like they just didn't know. So anyway, going to you know what I mean when he would be in the studio and him being my big brother. Of course, he's my favorite rapper at that time, and even still to this day too. You know what I'm saying? And he would tell me like, nah, nah, nah. And I'm like, well, all right, I ain't about to keep asking you. So I would do anything I can around the neighborhood, rake leaves, cut grass. Moms would let me, cause in her mind, he ain't going and getting in no shit. Ain't he earning $1? Cool. Yeah, you can do that. Just don't leave the neighborhood. So I would cut grass or whatever, whatever, save my money. Uh, and I would just put it towards recording and shit like that. So when I met Frank, um, it was eighth grade, like in the middle of the school year. It wasn't like from the very beginning. It was like maybe 2, 3 months in, and we said what up to each other, whatever have you. But I I got this way about me that like once I get comfortable, I get to talking shit. Like I have a lot of banter and I can be obnoxious. You know what I mean? So he and I didn't click at first. Like he went and hung and seemed like he was gelling with some cats that I wasn't really fucking with because to me talking shit and having banter and talking shit back and forth that's normal, but I didn't like the niggas that would be like throwing shit and picking on people, trying to be bullies and shit like that, like physically acting out. It's one
Right.
thing to be a class clown to be talkative, but like if you like why is you throwing a pencil, my nigga?
Yeah.
So when he went to go, cause you could hurt somebody and shit like that. So when he went and he sat next to them and it seemed like they was jamming, I was like, I wrote him off. Like, oh
Mm.
nah, like I'm not, you know what I mean, fucking with that. Not that he was doing that, but it's just how we were as kids, is how we thought. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he wrote me off too. Cause he was just like, yo, who is this nigga, man? This nigga shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like that was our energy towards each other without ever saying a word type shit. You know what I mean? But one day we had the same math class. It's middle school. We had the same math class. He pull up and he looking for a seat. We made eye contact, and by this time, our teachers won't tripping on us because we, again, eighth grade, we think we grown. We about to go to high school, like niggas is out. Our teachers won't tripping on us having electronics, and I had just got my first dosage of being considered like cool. What I mean by that is I had the iPod, the click wheels.
Hmm.
So waiting on class to start, my dumb ass sitting on the desk and I'm watching Family Guy on my shit. He walk in and he got a PSP because again, our teacher is cool. So he was like, yo, what up? What you doing? It's like shit, watching TV, nigga. What's up? What you doing? It's like, man, listening to music. I'm like, music off the PSP? He was like, yeah. And I was like, how the fuck you do that? And he asking me the same thing, like, how the fuck you do that, basically, you know what I mean? And I was just like, oh no, my brother, like, cause my brother, ironically, my brother lived in Northern Virginia too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Alexandria. So my brother would come home on the weekends. My oldest, Murtaugh, he would come home on the weekends, and every weekend he would take my iPod from me from Friday to Sunday, and he would load it with new music, new movies, whatever, whatever. And Frank had music on his PSP, so I'm like, hold on, son, like you can play the game and play the music at the same time, like fuck is that? And he like, shit, I'm trying to watch movies on your shit. Cause I had whole seasons of Family Guy. I had Sin City. I had 40 Virgin. I had whole discographies of niggas joints. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm booming with shit. But the difference is I had all of the stuff that I was naming, the Wu-Tangs, the old schools, the undergrounds, and the now what I call it as like the golden mixtape era. So like clips we got it for cheap. De La Soul, that mixtape, I think it was called The Grind Date. Or was
Yeah.
that an
The
album?
Grind Date. It's an album. It's an album.
Got you. But it was no, not it was The Grind Date for sure. That wasn't a mixtape. What I'm thinking of is Little Brother Mick Boogie mixtape.
Oh, okay.
Um
Gotcha. Yeah.
so just all of that. You know what I'm saying? I had all of that. But what Frank had was the independent slash popping music that was going on right now, but it wasn't like the singles. So he'll have Lil Boosie on there, but he had like the joints that was like hood classics. Like he went platinum, like platinum in the hood. So he put me on to this song. I'll never forget it. It was called "I Know" by Boosie and "Act a Donkey" by Boosie. And I was
Mm.
just like, hold on, he can rap like that? Like, all right. And then my other man, who's still my man to this day, my man Tony had put me on the Gucci Man. Kid Cadeau that had just came out.
Mm.
So I'm like, oh nah. Anyway, Frank is telling me, like, yo, let me see your iPod. Shit, let me see your PSP. Matter of fact, I'm bringing my PSP tomorrow. Put music on my shit. So he was showing me how to do all that shit. Mind you, this is at school. So like we was like, man, fuck Icy Tower, dog. When we get a chance to, you know what I mean? We gonna fucking go find music, download it real quick, and do it fast enough to not get caught and delete the shit off the computer. And he was putting music on my PSP. And if I let him borrow the iPod, and that just became my man. Like, and the eighth grade year ended. I did the little mixtape shit that I told you about. I put this shit out and was passing it around the last week of school. And motherfuckers lost contact, dog. And during the summer, I'm making music, but again, I'm outside. I'm running around the neighborhood and shit like that. And Frank had hit me up on. I don't know if y'all used it, but we before Facebook, MySpace, and all that, we had Bebo. Remember that?
Vaguely. I don't think I was on it like that, but I had friends who were on it. So
It
yeah.
was like the kids version of MySpace and all that. Cause you
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying, you ain't
yeah.
had to fake your age. You could really be 12, 13 on that joint versus MySpace. You had to lie and say you was 16. So he hit me up on that and was like, yo, this Frank, da 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 da. I'm like, nigga, like, what up? He was like, yo, bro, like, you know what I mean? I think I had just got like a bullshit version mobile phone. It wasn't no nights and weekends, nigga. If I had 1,000 minutes, I had 1,000 minutes. So I told him, like, bro, call my phone, call my house phone type shit. We building, we chopping it up. Like, yo, what you been up to? Like, you know what I mean? Reconnecting on some friend shit. Like, yo,
Of
I'm
course.
doing the music. I'm still doing me. Like, I'm still the same. He was like, bro, like, I've been thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to do the music too. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? By this time, me and my mom's just having like one of those breakthroughs to where like we cooler. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my mom, I've always been her baby and all of that. But like I'm talking about like we actually like cool because my mom is seeing who I'm becoming as a person, and it's like yo, as long as I encourage him to do that, I don't have to worry about where he's at and if he's okay, even though I was outside, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and it wasn't like knee deep in the streets or no dumb shit like that, but just curious, wanting to explore and getting into shit. That was my whole thing. So my mom was down for anything that would keep me in the house, especially when she started working night shifts again. Because she ain't wanna be not being able to sleep because she don't know where I'm at. Even though I was outside anyway. But when she saw that I was like staying in the house because of the music, she was with it. So going back to Frank, I was like, "Yo, bro, like, make sure your pop's cool with it. I'm gonna make sure my mom's cool with it. Come through." I record at the crib. I remember being proud of it. Like, nah, I don't pay for no studio time. Like, nah, just pull up. I'm gonna show you what I do. And he pulled up on some Kendrick Lamar shit. He had raps in a notebook, and he
Hmm.
pulled up with a DJ Arms mixtape CD with all a shit ton of instrumentals on it. And I showed him what I was doing, and I started learning from him. So I mean I know I'm like kind of like going a little far, so my bad if I'm answering
You're
questions
straight,
you may
bro. Keep
ask.
going.
So like I had the recording set up in the situation, and he had the beats on the CD and shit before SoundClick. Before we discovered SoundClick amongst ourselves, we just had instrumentals. So I was rapping over Dilla, Doom, Madlib, and so forth and so on back then. Ayatollah, just anything I could find before I started learning about SoundClick and how you could download shit off the internet. You know what I mean? He came through with the J Arm CD. What Frank naturally had versus what I naturally had, they worked together. I was always, like I said, into words, vernacular, slang, stuff like that. But what he was good at naturally was flow.
Hmm.
Like he could be lyrical. Like even back then, we both was lyrical, but he had a flow. I didn't. Like my shit was real like choppy like RZA because I looked at it like sentences. So I didn't always have a flow and shit like that. So between my middle brother and Frank, I just worked at my flow because again it was like yo, I always knew in the back of my mind it was one thing to know how to rap and to say words and know how to put words together. It's a whole nother thing to be able to have a cadence and a flow, like a
Hmm.
signature. So between my middle brother Great Scott and Frank, I naturally just developed my own flow from like '08 until now.
Right. And like, and you know, like you do that, and the two of you, like, you notice the chemistry,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, like we're gonna do this. Like,
Hmm.
Mutant Academy forms from that. You know, like that's the
Hmm.
primordial ooze that y'all crawled out of.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, you know, like at this, like, eventually more people start to come into the fold. Y'all start
Hmm.
putting out projects,
Hmm.
and you know, like of course, like from this is eighth grade. So like from like what you had, so like eighth grade for you had to have been like what, like 04, 05, maybe 06.
Nah. The only reason I remember what years a lot of stuff happened, bro, honestly, you only a year older than me. So you graduated 2011?
2010
I
from high
graduated
school.
20 I graduated 2012.
Got you.
So the only reason I remember stuff the way that I do, aside from, you know what I mean, just taking care of myself and having a good memory, is because the grade that I was in matched the year. I graduated the 12th grade at 2012.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
if we talking 2008, I'm in the eighth grade, so I'm what, 12, 13?
Yeah, sounds about
Yeah.
right.
But mind you, I had put in 4 years worth of effort
Right.
from like '05. But just writing, occasionally having a moment of confidence to do it and getting an impression.
Right. Yeah, so like we're gonna do a pretty crazy time jump now, because
Hmm.
that story is nuts, just to hear like how you and Frank first like came together, and just
Hmm.
like just to see that happen, you know, like knowing what I know about him and how he is, and like seeing you tell stories about him, and knowing how I don't know, like it's just, a lot of things are starting to make sense for me in my head. And like and like, you know, like of course that's like, once again, that's the foundation.
Hmm.
More people come in to the mutants, and you know, it's like it's a lot of y'all. I
Yeah.
think it's nine at this current moment.
Hmm.
Nine of y'all.
Hmm.
So, you know, you establish this, you put out a bunch of projects,
Yeah.
you build y'all names.
Hmm.
Um and once again, super duper time jump, we're at Keep Holly Alive.
Hmm.
You know, like this is like a damn near 20-year time jump
Yeah.
to Keep Holly Alive.
Hmm.
Um Everyone's established. Frank's in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Frank's in Atlanta, E1's in Atlanta, Kahuna's between all sorts of different places.
Hmm.
Um Everyone's everywhere. What Why was last year the time for the mutants to come together and give the formal debut album as a collective, as opposed to just like three of y'all or two of y'all making a project at one time?
Um, well, again, just all right, so I told you all that about myself, about how I'm always writing. So that's established, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in between putting out projects, we really started what became Keep Holly Alive in 2018 when everybody was still living in Richmond.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we started it. got a shit ton of music done, and then we grew. We did more projects outside of each other. We got better as artists. We lived lives. We became more mature. So we gave it another go. I want to say, if I remember correctly, one of my brothers will correct me if they watch this. We gave it another go around the time that Holly Water was getting finished up,
Right.
slash the middle of Holly Water. Because when did Holly Water come out?
Oh, Holly Water had to have been 2018, 2019.
All right, so in between Holly Water, because if I'm not mistaken, Holly Water came out when it was cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
And we started trying to do a Mutant album that summer. So what came out after Keep Holly Alive?
Uh, Shit. Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. Um, I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. But it was in between. I'm bringing it up to say in between pivotal moments for each of us. So for me, I would say Sages, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's say
You would know Bliss
Sages,
Project, yeah.
Sages, Holly Water. I'll say it was before Frank, the self-titled album Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Cause what was I would probably say the Big Fly era. Like we tried, and I'm not gonna say we tried. We made versions and variations of the album multiple times. Got a lot of music that still really, if you ask me, it could still come out. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And be good and stand the test of time. But I say all that to say, we worked. We obviously we're intentional about our artistry. Um, but every time we went to go and lock in and work, we never left with saying it was done. You know what I'm saying? We always left with like, all right, next time we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Then that turns into us getting the partnership and the situation with equity, which is now, all under Rock Nation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um so first shout outs to, what I'm saying, Rock Nation, shout outs to Celine.
Yep. Shout out to
Um
Celine Baba forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout outs to Celine for sure. You know what I mean? Like good dude. You know what I mean? Like, so when that situation became about, we was like, all right, y'all. Well, we've been making an album. Let's see what we got. And it was, yeah, nah, we was right. We need to do it again. So we just locked in a few sessions. Now, for me, speaking for me personally, I was in and out of LA a lot more and traveled a lot more than I ever have traveled in my entire life existence. I went to LA a couple times on my own. We met up out there like twice, and again, I'm always writing, I'm always recording. So I would go out there with a mission. Like, all right, I'm gonna write and be working on my own stuff when I'm out there so that I can record it. But when I get out there, the stuff that I'm gonna be writing out there is for the Mutant album.
Yeah.
So like, if we talking about like 10,000 hours, bro, like I took myself through the 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 chamber of rap as if I had never rapped before. Like I made that much music. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like Keep Holly Alive, my contribution to it, two probably almost three albums worth.
Wow.
Because for one, I had to make sure that I was sharp, and two, that's just who I am. I'm a studio rat. Like you're only seeing like a little glimpse because it's like, what I mean, the Mac camera or whatever have you, but like I'm in my studio right now.
Yeah. I figured.
Yeah,
I thought I had seen some like soundproofing shit on the wall. I just assumed
yeah,
this
yeah,
looks like a studio setup to me.
yeah. My little cave, or like what my progress of a cave. You know what I mean?
Word. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
nah. So I mean, how it came about for me, speaking from my perspective, um, it was a lot of back and forth. I learned a lot about myself through making Keep Highly Alive amongst all of this other music that I have right now. And I think your question was why now, right? Basically,
Yeah, yeah. Why not?
we've been wanting to do it. You know what I'm saying? It was just wanting to make sure that the music was right, and then the situation became available.
Right.
Or
And it
rather,
was
we
just
sought
perfect
out a
timing.
situation because I don't want to make it seem like it fell in our lap. It wasn't that. We sought it out and we got blessed. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, nah. And then just to see it go the places it did, to see my homie Andre at Rolling Stone like get to profile y'all and make it like a full length, like
Yeah,
y'all
that
had
was
like a
dope.
full
That
conver
was dope.
yeah, like that was a full converse, like it's like Rolling Stone is Rolling Stone. So like
No doubt.
to get there and like and you know, of course, like Frank and Kahuna had their moments, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like they had kind of like burst out onto the scene
Mm-hmm.
like in like a big way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, just to see you in there and be like, damn, like people are finally like this, like it felt like it was a breakthrough, and it was just like great to see you get that opportunity. And just like, you know, like some of like your verse on Paranoid is fucking crazy. Like
Thank you.
I just need to put that out there, like outside of the fact that like the beat samples one of my favorite internet
Mm-hmm.
songs. Like your verse, your last verse on that out on that song is just like you know, you want to talk about flow and all this other shit. Like it's just, I
Yeah.
hear that and I'm just like the most people imaginable are listening to you do this right now, and you're
Yeah.
in this. I don't know, like it just made me smile on some like, damn, like you're like showing improving in a crazy way,
Nah,
you know.
thank you, bro. For real, for
No
real. Like I
doubt.
said, like I, I, I took myself through a lot. I went through a lot, and I learned a lot about myself. You know what I mean? In those travels, flying overnight back and forth to LA, and you know what I mean? Like it was worth it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm
I'm
not even
sure.
saying was, it is worth it. You know what I mean? I got closer to my brothers. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like I got a
yeah,
lot closer to them. Like we always been tight knit. You feel me? Like you could see my disposition in the way I talk about the day that I met Frank. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But like I got a lot closer to my guys. You know what I mean? Between um, Gray Matter, Foisey,
yeah.
and I mean I was always close with E1, always close with Luke. I don't want to say I brought Sid in, like not some take under the wing type shit, but I met Sid and brought him to the group. So I was already close with them, but like the people that I spent the absolute most time around when I was going to LA, either before uh Frank and Luke would pull up or just going out there, I got extremely close to Gray Matter and Foisey, and then of course E and I were working on albums because again, like everything that I'm working on right now, it was pre Rock Nation.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying, including Keep Holly Alive. So I'm already locked in with my guys in different ways. But just like somebody seeing me kind of go through the blood, sweat, and tears of writing and recording and seeing how my mind worked and adding on to that, you know what I mean, and just letting me be an artist and telling me not to worry about nothing else. Like I would say that like E1 and Gray Matter have really like allowed me to do what I do, but be that other voice in the room.
Right.
Because when you grow up musically recording yourself and doing so much yourself, eventually you just spitting at the wall and you
Hmm.
realize it's a wall. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So they was the other voice in the room that I couldn't have been able to articulate that I needed it, but my spirit knew I needed it. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm happy you brought up I mean, like shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the mutants.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
word.
y'all are crazy. But I want to focus specifically on you and E.
Mm-hmm.
because E produced this EP that dropped
Mm-hmm.
last week, and he's producing the album y'all are putting out at the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
So like, talk to me about Fougère and the coldest winter out, and like how, like, talk to me about you guys' relationship
Mm-hmm.
creatively, and why you felt like it was time to lock in with him for a full project.
It's similar to Keep Holly Alive, to be honest with you. Somewhere in somebody's cloud on somebody's hard drive, myself, my brother Murtaugh, and Great Scott, those are my two blood brothers.
Yep.
We have an entire album produced by E
Mm.
that I lost.
Damn.
Uh-huh. From like 2012, 2013, no later than 2014. So E has been a brother of mine for 10 plus years.
Right.
Um, we always talked about making sure we get one in. For me, when we finally decided to do it, is when we kept sending back and forth joints. Like he would send me a batch, I would have a couple out of each batch that I would send back and forth. And one day we was on the phone, and I'm just like, "Yo, bro, I think I kind of finally see what Frank and Kahuna is talking about. Like we got to link up." Because I was the type of person, especially because I was one of the first that moved away before I came back to Richmond. I moved away first. I was in Northern Virginia in Manassas. So it was like, yo, just send me some shit. I got you. Like I can't get down there right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I gotta do out here. I kinda planted myself out here. And it was like, nah, bro, you don't understand. You gotta come home. You gotta come home. Not come home to live, but you just gotta come home. Whatever you gotta do, beat feet, get the fuck down here. Like
Yeah.
shit is bubbling. You are part of the reason why shit is bubbling. You gotta get the fuck out here. Like, all right, man, whatever. And what I bring that back to the conversation I was having with E, and I was like, yo, we gotta link up. I was like, but I think we gotta pick a neutral location though. And he was like, what you mean? I'm like, yo, I need to get the fuck out of Richmond. I'm sure you cool with getting out of New York. And we need to find somewhere that's not gonna be fucking expensive as a bitch. That's like kind of like a halfway point for the two of us. He was like, what you thinking? I was like, yo, I always wanted to go to Philly. Like I passed through Philly. I know people from Philly, but like I got a little bit of an affliction with Philly, like going back to my roots. Like, yo, like you never know what we might see. We might see motherfuckers on the corner and this shit just might be inspiring. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know. He was like, yo, you right. Cause I don't know if E talks about it. E used to write graffiti and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it.
So, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, like you just never know. You know what I mean? Let's just go out, let's go hide, and let's just go rock. We was out in Philly for like a week. Probably one of my favorite experiences that I ever had that was in the mix of something but secluded at the same time. Like we started on the album, no title, just ideas, and we just recorded our ass off. Like I bought the PlayStation, brought some equipment, he brought some equipment. Like we both brought our laptops. I brought my speaker, he brought his mic and his beat machine. And we turned the fucking little Airbnb, the kitchen dining room area, we turned that into the best makeshift version of what we had going on in our respective studios in Holly. And uh we would be up there when we weren't eating and going to see what was going on in Philly. We was in there until we was tired and went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like the why, it was because we just, I ain't gonna say we owed it to each other, but we just men of our words. Like we just wanted to do it, and it finally got to a point where it was like, yo, this shit ain't gonna get done the way we needed to get done until we linked. And I felt like if I went to New York, I was gonna want to be outside and explore New York too much, and I didn't want him to come to Richmond because I was afraid that me knowing Richmond so much would have caused me to get distracted and not want to do it, or rather find an excuse not to do it. So I was like, yo, let's just pick a location, and we had both agreed that Philly was like that. So yeah,
Yeah. Wow. And so like while y'all were in Philly, you put together the EP and the album. Like you just like knocked all the music out in that week.
nah, hell no.
That's
Because
insane.
that's 2022. So
Oh,
we
okay.
put together like a skeleton. Like if we talking about like duration and length of like how many songs came out, yeah, you could say that. But like nah, like this was another. Like I said, it was real similar to Keep Highly Alive. Like again, out of like all of the music that E and I made, bro, just over time, man, we probably got 2 albums.
Hmm.
Like I like, bro. When I say I'm a studio fucking rat, I'm a studio rat, bro. Like when I
Yeah, I
go to
believe it.
LA, the only reason I don't just live in the studio when I go to LA is because they don't got a shower where we at.
Mm,
Like if it
mm,
had a shower in there, I'll figure it out. Y'all go ahead.
mm.
But nah, like we got the nucleus of the album, but I'll say that the album and EP, well really the EP is a collection of songs that are definitely worthy of being out there, but the EP, that those 4 songs sound real similar and they're sequenced together well, right?
Yeah,
So they're sequenced together well as their own, but not with the album, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
like,
No,
you listening to it, knowing my style and things like that, like I'm very intentional and meticulous, so it'll make sense when people hear that, oh nah, this is definitely a good prelude, but it's not what the album is. Like the album is, it's cliche to say it, but the album really is like my best shit because I learned so much, bro. Like I learned so much about myself, and I aimed to accomplish so much about myself, and I put myself in a better place between Keep Highly Alive and this album.
hmm. Yeah, and it's like I'm happy you said that about this kind of being like a prelude or like an appetizer before the main course because
Mm-hmm.
like considering that it's like a 4 track project
Mm-hmm.
and you're like it ends with this like it ends with this crazy posse cut.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like just like the 3 songs in a posse cut, like I can't put my finger on why I feel this way, but just the way it's sequenced with like boom 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 posse cut, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like this feels like a setup
Mm-hmm.
in terms of just like I need to hear what's coming next. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why, but it's just like you saying that, like I had already been thinking it.
Yeah.
And just to yeah, like just to see how just to see how smooth these 4 tracks are, like
Yeah.
even like X-Trait and Elixir are just like they're smooth, like
Yeah.
they really just move and they could work on their own. And as somebody who hasn't heard the next project yet, like I'm interested to see how it all fits together, and I can see y'all's chemistry working the way it works, like
Yeah.
as just like as the two of y'all. Like
No
that's
doubt.
like that's the cool part of this for me. Like we've all we've heard just about every configuration of the mutants that we can possibly hear over like all these different projects, but just for it to
Yeah.
be you two
Yeah.
and to really just like this is what Loe and E sound like together. Like
Yeah. At
it
least
works
a
and it's
layer
cool.
of it.
Yeah, at least a layer of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like this is definitely like the fries to the burger that's coming later.
No doubt. No doubt. I
You know.
appreciate it, bro. Word.
Yeah, yeah. No, I see the vision on all of it.
Yeah.
And before we formally wrap, I wanted to like what like is there anything else? I don't normally do this because usually I do these before or like usually these come out either after I've heard an album or um like right before the project comes out, whatever. like I never asked this question in this way, but like, is there anything else that you want to say about the coldest winter out before before it comes out? To like, what should people expect?
Mm.
Like, are you like just yeah, just like any final thoughts on the next shit?
Um, as far as the coldest season ever, like the album, like I think that the last thing I feel like I could say, because I mean it's easy to talk an album up, right?
Yeah.
I think that this gonna be the last time people see me take this long of a hiatus again. Like,
Mm,
cause the last time I dropped Re Lewis was 2021. We was still inside because
2021.
of COVID and shit.
Yep.
And it was accidentally on purpose.
Hmm.
Like I would have loved to have felt ready to put out another project, and I damn sure worked on a lot of music, like I just said a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I was blessed with the the opportunity to grow through some struggles and to grow through some things and to become a better artist and to become a better man overall. So, you know what I mean? Like I think that, when people listen to this album, I think they're gonna see why it was called the coldest season ever and not referencing any one particular season out of the four that we have. Like they just gonna see what I mean by cold. Cause it's layers to it. You know what I mean? You got cold in the form of slang, you got the physical aspect of cold, you have a cold season, and then you got comparing it to sports, you got a hot streak and a cold streak.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave it there and I'll plant that seed there. Um, and then I'll also say, you know what I mean, like just playing off of the um the theme of the EP, it's about elegance, you know what I mean? So when you think about your favorite fragrance that you wear at nighttime, you know what I mean, you want to be seen as the coldest motherfucker out there. So
Mm-hmm.
we really went to capture all of that.
Yeah,
So
nah, and yeah, like listening to that EP in particular, like I'm a like I've experimented with all sorts of different colognes, but I think right now my favorite scent is this Lush body spray called Dirty, and like
okay,
that's just like that's my scent. Like if I'm outside, I smell like that,
there you go.
and like it kind of like it drapes around you in that way,
No
like
doubt.
like it's comforting, it's like it's familiar but it's not derivative, and it
Yeah,
makes you it makes you feel fly. Like this is like it's fly shit, like
yeah, word.
and like sometimes it could just be as simple as like here's some fly shit,
Yeah,
and it just works. So
no
yeah.
doubt.
Man, this has been such a crazy conversation. Like I
Nah,
can't
word.
yeah, no, I can't believe it's already almost been 2 hours. But to like actually wrap this up, Loey, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
My life was a movie. What would it be about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm long winded, man. Like you said, we just had a fucking 2 hour conversation. I'll probably fucking have a TV series before I had a movie.
Word.
Yeah.
You're the
If
first
it
person
was,
to say that. That's crazy.
yeah, and I only say that because I don't know that I'll be able to capture even everything that I just told you in a movie. Like I think I would have to have seasons for my shit. Or I
Yeah.
would have to have as many movies as the fucking Fast and Furious. Maybe John Wick. You know what I'm
Yeah, no, because
saying?
it's like four of those, five of those, right?
Yeah, cause you know what I mean? Like again, like I think I would have to I think you would see so many different layers of my personality. I don't think one movie could capture it.
Mm-hmm.
Just being honest, like not even to be arrogant.
Yeah, or like at the very least, like a mini series, where
Hmm.
where it's like three movie length episodes or something like that.
Yeah. I think
Like
I think if anything, it'll be the type of joint where you don't realize that, all right, boom, if I had to put a plot together, you got four people from four different completely like from four different backgrounds, right? They all meet each other at the end and they don't realize they the same person, they the same soul.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I do.
Like, and again, like you gotta know me to know what I mean by that.
Yeah, nah, like eras, seasons, like
Yeah,
yeah, all yeah. It's if you know, you know. If you know,
yeah,
you know.
no doubt,
Um, damn. Thank you, bro. This
no doubt,
was
bro. Nah,
yeah.
thank you, bro.
My pleasure. Like I said, it had been I've been like I said, I've been looking for an excuse to do something with you. Like even if it was just this. So I'm just like happy to I don't know, like I'm walking away from this like I feel the kindred spirit connection and just like I don't know, I just appreciate the work more, which is
No
like
doubt, bro.
generally like the point of this shit. But yeah, nah,
Yeah.
like thank you for wanting to do this, especially after like a night out. Like it's almost 10 o'clock. I don't take niggas time for granted. So thank you.
Nah, no doubt, bro. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Working with me. I know something came up last minute, so we're a little late, but I appreciate you.
No, man, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm just like I said, like it's almost your time to like really like you're really about to show and prove, and I'm happy to have documented even just a little bit of that. So
No doubt, bro. Shit, we can do it again whenever. You know what I mean?
all right, yeah, no, we'll make something shake. I already know.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.